regret nothing. Welcome to the Running with Scissors I Regret Nothing podcast.
Well, we're doing this for the second time in a week, Eric. It's pretty good,
Yeah,
huh?
one more and it's a threesome.
I mean, technically, we did record 3 times because we did our pod on the weekend, we did our interview with Uva, and now we're just, we're just here to chat.
And the second time there was 3 of us, so that's a threesome too.
That's true. Me and you have been looking to do that for a while.
We really have, and considering both of us, it's amazing that we haven't yet.
Right. We are both celibate, so
completely celibate, and
it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
Eric.
We have a reverse igloo.
So I'm sending Eric into a lab to get his testosterone checked because my father.
Because you don't think I'm manly enough?
No, it's not that. It's that I'm worried about you not recovering from COVID. There was a study that came out that showed if you are lower on testosterone that you have a very hard time recovering from coronavirus. So while I have been on testosterone now for about a year because I was worried about COVID, right? For a year ago, I was like, I need to get on this.
Well, we time travel from time to time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, so, quarantine, I used to be like maybe a 3 or 4 daily, but I have gone down to like 1 or 2. So maybe I am low on the testosterone.
That's what I'm saying.
Most people that I hear, they're just raw.
Just raw.
Men and women both.
The thing, I can't really do more than 2 a day because it's powdered milk. By the third.
No, I can go like 10 even. But I suppose because my roommate is here all the time.
Yeah, right.
You go to your room, you try to sneak one on the couch, and then there's movement. You hear somebody walking around, and you guys start all over again.
Do you like wearing headphones so like it sounds like it's happening in your ear, whatever you're watching?
No, because I'm terrified now that I have the echo and the echo dots everywhere that I didn't disconnect my phone.
Right.
You do that one time, and you think about it. From then on.
Every once in a while, your porn activates your Echo Dot.
Right. Yeah. And I don't want anybody listening to that.
Like if you're watching a porn with a girl named Alexa or Siri, I actually have the problem in my house. I have HomePods everywhere, and Apple has the HomePod commercials, and they all say, "Hey Siri," and then my fucking house, everything's going wacko. My phone, my watch, my HomePods. And I guess Amazon did something a while ago with their commercials where they changed the frequency of the way it says.
Yeah, because I have a dot that's right next to my TV. Yeah. Well, now it's the regular one, and those commercials would come on and nothing would happen.
It seems that Bezos knows what he's doing, and Tim just doesn't give a fuck. He wants our HomePods to talk to us when his commercial comes on. He wants to remind us that he's in our lives.
Although I have to say, I was very against those things at first, but I love them, and I just keep buying more. I need one like in every room so that when my music's on, it's on everywhere.
Yeah, I
got to add something to my grocery list. I just do it. I don't have to like write things down.
I'm not in the Echo Dot. I'm in the HomePod region. The problem is there's only one type of HomePod, and they're not cheap. So while I have 2 in my house, it's not possible for me to have one in every room yet. They're supposed to be announcing a smaller, cheaper one soon. But what is cool is that all of my TVs also have Apple TVs as well, which are also AirPlay 2 devices. So you can, you can just send your music.
Yeah, that's what I did. I upgraded to, except for my TV in my living room, everything is fire. And so I can do that too. It's fire, bruh. Except I set my parents' shit up too, so I turn their TVs on every now and then in the middle of the night accidentally, and it like starts bumping like EDM or something. And my mom will text me and she's like, "Are you listening to music?
What did you
It's
do?
Different. It's not bad, but it's very different."
Mijo, what did you do?
No, that'd be my dad.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Remember, I'm only half.
Here's another question. Have you attempted to get yourself a PlayStation controller yet?
I have not. Well, no, that's wrong. I did try when I was at Target the other day, but they were in fact out of them.
I think you should just try to hop on Amazon and buy one because I think you need to start playing some games, man. Especially because we're going to be doing this. And, since I'm such a big gamer all of a sudden, I've played 3 games in the last month. And my wife, your best friend, is now a gamer.
Right.
You also
I just still can't get used to, I'm going to really date myself now. But ever since PlayStation added the little joysticks, my hands just don't before the first PlayStation controller. That was the little revolutionary from my Sega Genesis, but I was able to get it, and I was just owning people.
You're not a Wii, twin stick master.
Yeah, the original Wii, I could deal with those. I was good. But then
dated boy,
I get to this.
No, you can.
I can't do it.
You can do it.
I mean, I'll try.
And plus, if you're gonna play a game you're probably gonna play GTA first because I'm gonna loan you the discs.
Yeah.
The disc. They have a pretty good what's the word? Aim assistance in the game. You're not playing an online multiplayer game. Who gives a fuck? Just turn on aim assistance, and then you just have a good time and play. You get a great story, and you get to take up some time that you aren't. Stroking your cock.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll get it done, and I want to go. I want to get called names by kids on the internet eventually.
Right. Right.
That's the most appealing part.
You can get racist names called at you left and right.
And I'm a sports guy. When I was gaming a lot,
sure.
I stopped doing, the role play first person. I stopped all that.
Madden all the time.
And I was playing Madden online, and that's where it was at. And by the way, Madden for Wii was probably the best sports game ever, except for it was the Wii.
Listen, it's called a Switch now, and I hadn't really used my Switch a lot. I got one because I've got nephews, and I wanted to have a Nintendo system around for the kids to play. But McKinley, my wife, my beautiful wife, I don't know if you guys have ever seen her. She's pretty good looking. I sort of forced her to start using it last week, and I bought her Animal Crossing and Zelda. My wife's a gamer now. I know I said this. She's never played a game before since I've met her, but now she is all day, all night.
She fits the gamer profile though, if you think about it.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I've been friend zoned by a girl that I'm not going to mention her name.
Sure.
Perhaps I need to introduce her to video games, and that will unlock her heart
together.
So
what's
she'll be
cool,
I didn't like you, but now I do.
And I'm not that our fans don't know, our 10 fans don't know what a Switch is, but you may not. It is a home console that is actually a mobile system too. So what's nice about it is, it's a double-edged sword. So I want to play PlayStation. I pretty much have to sit at my TV. Yes, there are apps for your phone and for your tablet where you can play in other rooms, but with the Switch, you're downstairs playing and you're like, you know what, I want to go ride the exercise bike. So she fucking picks the thing up and she goes and sits on the exercise bike and continues to play the game. Or I'm laying in bed at night and she's like, you know what, I'm going to play some more Animal Crossing. And she's just laying next to me and I'm like, fuck.
It's just all the time.
Well, no, but it's whatever. It is a pretty cool concept that she can just continuously play the same system, whatever room she's in. I realize there's major limitations to that. The console's not exactly the most powerful console on earth, but it is a pretty cool concept. I realize I'm late to the game. The system's been out for a couple of years now. But,
I know what it is, but I haven't,
Yeah. No,
I don't have it on. Maybe I should get one of those too.
You can't, but you could think about it. You can get one on eBay probably and pay some ridiculous sum.
What, do they just not make them anymore?
It's not a matter of making them. All consoles and controllers and everything were bought up, and they're just the production lines kind of stopped during the pandemic. Right. It's very tough to get hardware.
Well, maybe I will kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I will come steal yours.
Oh.
See, so that you'll get some more wife time.
I don't know where the Switch went. I don't. Eric was here. Now it's gone. Fuck.
Yeah. So weird.
Anyway, we're kind of bullshitting. The whole purpose of doing this particular instance of the podcast was that we did interview the infamous Dr. Uwe Boll the other day. And it's a pretty good interview. I know I had a good time talking to him. I always liked Uwe. I mean, we may have our differences creatively, and but he's the movie guy and I'm the game guy. So I don't know. Without further ado, here's our interview with Dr. Uwe Boll. Well, hi everybody. After some serious fun technical difficulties on our end, we're all a little exhausted now, but I got everything working. It's been 18 minutes to be specific, but I'm here with my trusty friend Eric, E-Vizzy, as you can see, and we've got Dr. Uwe Boll here on the podcast today. Doctor. You guys might know him as the infamous movie director and doctor. You're a doctor, right? Or you have a PhD?
I'm a medical doctor. I studied literature.
You are a doctor of fine literature.
Yeah, not really fine literature, I would say.
So you can't tell me if this is infected. Well,
he could tell you that coronavirus is a big hoax because he's a doctor, right?
Right.
He could do.
Wait, was he the one that made Plandemic?
Yeah, probably. No, I don't think so. That's we're not going to talk about that garbage. But Dr. Uwe Boll, movie director, you are a restaurateur now, though, correct?
Yeah, but they illegal evicted me. At the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah, so my landlord was a fucking asshole for a long time, tried to get rid of me, and as soon we shut down, he sent me a letter. I'm changing the locks. Everything what is inside I own now. And then we drove over, called the police, and took everything out of the building, what we could, like all the wine, all the the alcohol, the plates, the pots, everything we could take out till 3 a.m. in the night, and put it in storage. And then I sued him, of course, and it was a completely illegal eviction. I paid rent, so I didn't stop paying rent, and still evicted me. Now, yeah, we will see in court what happens. But for now, my restaurant is closed, and
that's not that funny. I'm not laughing because that's funny. That's really fucked up.
I mean, it's kind of idiotic from his side to kick somebody out who pays rent at the beginning of the shutdown. Right. I mean, now he doesn't get any rent for the next whatever year because, I mean, when the shutdown is over in Canada now, slowly the shutdown is over, half of the restaurants are bankrupt. I mean, it's really you can pick tons of locations now if you open a restaurant, and I don't think he will be able to rent out his spot again. So
I mean, if it burns down too, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either, right?
No, that's true.
You could burn it down and plant evidence that he did it for the insurance money.
Yeah. This is really working out.
I'm not talking about a plan that we have. I'm just talking about a potential scenario for what could be in our next game, right?
It's hypothetical.
It is hypothetical.
So we need his DNA on the cigarette butt.
Right.
You should invite him to lunch.
And we put it on top when everything is burned out. We put that thing on top of everything, and then
and leave a note that says definitely not arson.
Yeah, right. Well, because we want to make sure that that's clear. I've always wanted to be a spy, so if you need like somebody to just casually strike a conversation up with him and be like, here, smoke this cigarette, and then I'll oh no, hold on, that's mine, and we'll have it.
He's very big into psyops. He couldn't become a spy because he did psychedelic drugs too much, I believe.
That's true. That's true.
You can't
they asked me how many times I did it. Yeah, and I did
they all tested it. Look
Right.
at the 50s and 60s, all the tests they did, where they gave the age and they gave everybody like all that thing to what. So what is heroin doing? What is LSD doing?
I'm guessing that's the reason why they have a limit on how much psychedelics you can do, because they saw how fucked up everybody they made into a junkie and, all that good.
And then they gave them like, presidential offices and stuff like that.
Why not?
And why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
so what kind of restaurant was it?
Yeah, what was your restaurant? I don't know.
It was a German restaurant.
German.
So German restaurant Bauhaus was the name, like the Bauhaus architectural thing, and the band from New York. And so we did German, like Wiener Schnitzel, Roulade, Sauerbraten, all this stuff, but in a good higher end quality.
Yeah.
And but we had a big disadvantage because we were in Gastown, and Vancouver's oldest part of the city in downtown is Gastown, and it was overrun by homeless and drug addicts for 10 years now. So you basically step over dead bodies when you park your car.
I mean, if I was going to go for the full Vancouver Uwe Boll experience, like I want to see where Postal was shot, I want to go to his restaurant, I would definitely want to step over dead bodies to get there. I feel like that's...
Or just like comatose ones.
I have what?
Oh, he was just saying, you know, not necessarily dead, but super high.
Yeah, but we have,
yeah,
I have
just,
a
you know,
good
kind of
start.
laying there.
You did have a good start?
Yeah, I have a good show. My wife was parked in front of the restaurant, and then we were in the restaurant, and they were like outside, were screaming and yelling and police. So we went outside, and there was a dead body on the roof of my wife's car. So somebody threw the guy out on the third floor or fourth floor out of the window on the car, right? And the police came, so then they brought the morgue guy, whatever, they took him away, and then the car was bloody and whatever, and the police said, yeah, you should drive through a
car wash.
So that was...
Is that like were they filming the beginning of Ozark, like right outside your car?
Yeah, something like this. It was really unreal, but true. And so that was maybe the moment where I felt I'm maybe in the wrong part of town with my high-end restaurant.
That was your first.
I assumed your restaurant would be inside that like little Germany place you built for the movie.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be the best spot for a German restaurant.
Yeah. You know what location from Postal I drive a lot of times by, and it's untouched, is the job office where he goes and makes his job interview.
Yes.
And the guy gets like when the guy's outside and gets crashed by the car. That building is untouched. I think they shut down right after the Postal shoot.
I saw. What did I see? There was a show I watched on Netflix that had a bunch of locations, the same locations we were using for the movie. It was pretty cool just to see that same building and other things. But it is Vancouver, which is, Hollywood essentially up there, right? So.
Yeah, not anymore.
No.
Now everything is on a standstill. It was funny when here the premiere said, that you can keep shooting movies now in July. Travel from US. So, but without the US actors, here are no movies getting shot. I mean, tell me who is the big Canadian star who lives here? I mean, Ryan Reynolds is from Vancouver, but he doesn't live here, right? So, so they have a huge problem with the travel ban to go back to movies or TV shows. It's completely impossible.
Yeah, I saw like the NHL's looking to come back, and if they're going to have a location for games to be played in Canada, everybody has to quarantine for 14 days before they're allowed to even do anything. So they've got a plan.
Yeah, but then the US teams must fly in too and stay there, right? All in the big reservoir, whatever hotel.
Exactly.
Saying what the German soccer is doing ghost games, right? So German soccer league is back on, and they're all quarantined. So they agreed to. They're all living in a hotel, but all over Germany. They still play in Munich, in Cologne, in Berlin. They're still going around, but they cannot see their families or anything. So they're basically under each other, getting tested after every game.
Yeah.
And then they play the season in front of, now they have like this kind of dummies. They have you could buy for $20 your face on a dummy, and then they sit in the audience.
You put a little camera on it. You can have a VR camera. It's just a bunch of sex dolls.
I was going to say, this is reminding me of something.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, that's where everything is headed, right? Just dolls and robots.
Yeah.
No in-person meetings.
Right. I mean, that's since we have now moved from in-person meetings to virtual meetings, eventually we're going to have like stand-ins for virtual meetings, right? I did see yesterday, I saw news that there was a professional race car driver that was supposed to do an online race with some video game, and he hired a professional gamer to race for him. instead of him doing it because he didn't want to look like an idiot. And it's
this is the weirdest fucking timeline.
Yeah, you got caught, bro. Like just race like shit in a video game. Who cares? I don't know. It seems pretty silly.
That is pretty silly.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe the machines at one point, they said, you know Bill Maher on HBO, right? He always says everything what happens in movies comes true.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, and when we see all that sci-fi movies and we're laughing about it, maybe we coming in a situation like this where the machines say, nah,
right,
you're not good enough. Like, we
fuck you guys.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. The 3 laws of robotics eventually will have to kick in, and eventually the robots will decide that the only way to protect humans is to kill them, because all they do is kill themselves. Like, it makes total sense, and it's pretty scary. Like,
I'm ready for it though.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it. I'm tired of this. You know, everything's pretty boring at this point. So let's get to the robot wars.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh yeah, just drop it over there.
I mean, I fancy myself a John Connor anyways, because of course when you imagine movies, you always, you know, you're the protagonist every time. Everybody watching, that's why we like movies, right? Because I'm just like that guy.
You don't see yourself as the T-1000?
No. Maybe John Connor's original parents. Maybe I could see myself. I'll fucking gotta get murked, you know, just like right off the bat. I'm just like drinking some milk.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, Judgment Day is coming. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It sure is.
So anyway, I guess you're out of the restaurant business temporarily for now. Like, are you completely done with movies altogether? Movies, TV, production, that kind of stuff? No, I think I'm not going back to restaurants after this now. Right.
And my plan is, I made a documentary last year. I produced it about the homeless and drug addicts here.
Wow.
It's the name is The Decline, and on YouTube is the trailer. And and I want to go back to movies, so features like, you know, like and documentaries.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, for years and years, I feel like the world needs Postal too. You know, I mean, in a way, he survived. The Postal dude survived the nuclear fallout.
Sure.
So it could be like moving ahead of time. And I wrote a lot of ideas down over time, individual ideas about crazy shit. And then Trump took the White House.
Right.
And you
like,
feel like,
okay, he like took it up a level.
Yeah, but all funny ideas.
Now you have to really notch it up. Like, really, you know what you think is satire 3 years ago is no satire anymore.
Right.
Insanity world. This kind of like, okay, let's go crazier, right? For example, I wrote a scene. It's so Trump is president since 10 years at that point. He never got removed.
Right, he just doesn't leave.
Yeah, and he has concentration camps for blacks.
Okay.
But they getting like, they have all this kind of religious motivational speakers the whole time, like Kanye West and whatever, so that they don't really care. They feel good. Like, they have to see the positive aspect of the gas chambers. So I mean, that is really bitter. But I think that is the level we have to go.
Yeah.
Now
nowadays,
people watch it and think, oh my fucking God, I cannot believe that somebody is actually putting that scene on screen. But you have to go over the time. And if you think 12 years ago was Postal 1, right? And it was so ahead of the time. Yeah. You know, I think when you see all that comedies now, all that kind of Kevin Hart, like this kind of like, hangover comedies, you know, it's all that is the comedies,
right?
But where are the real, let's say, the movies that was only Postal,
right?
You know, I think that Postal was a real it turned into a classic. And also a lot of things happen, like when I go to festivals or whatever conventions, I tell you 50 to 60% of the DVDs I sign is Postal.
Right.
And it was not a financial hit, right? I mean, Blood Rain, whatever, Alone in the Dark, they sold like 10 times more DVDs as Postal, but Postal had the biggest impact, has the most fans, has the most like devoted fans who sings like, that was a great, great movie. And that is the thing. I think that is one of the reasons to say let's try to make another Postal movie. What gives the world the answer to the almost total absurdity we're living in, and the coronavirus is only like an escalation of the absurdity. It's kind of this kind of, oh my God, now we're sitting in our houses and everything is over. What we ever thought is a given.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right. So what do you think of the movie 12 years later? What sticks out to you, for you personally, about it?
No, I love it. I mean, and then I could pick a few movies. A German cinema showed a few of my movies, and I could pick the movies. So I said, let's do Rampage and Darfur, and we end with Postal. Because after Postal, you don't want to watch anything else, but you don't want to watch anything anymore. So, and the people loved it. There was a big crowd in the audience. They loved it. And I think it is that it has with the dude also, with Zach Ward, it has a heart. It has a real emotion. Like it's not an ice cold movie or something. It has a heart to it. Right. And it has also this kind of political aspect, and just the aspect of what happened to the Postal dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Life, right? And I like it. It's never boring. It has so many twists and turns, and so many great actors who did things like J.K. Simmons. Like he won an Oscar and plays this guy, like the little political corrupt guy who gets blown up. So I think a lot of actors also loved to be in Postal, because it was what it was, and so I think the movie is way better. And a lot of people have wrote it's trashy, whatever. Yeah, it's trashy, but it's not. But it's not a shitty, cheap sea picture. It has very good action scenes. It has very good technical CGI effects. It has very good actors, and but it's on purpose trashy.
Right.
It's on purpose.
As the game is, yeah.
Right. As you may or may not know, Uwe, we trademarked the term "worst game ever," so we gladly expose how shitty our products are. Do you consider Postal your best movie? Is it your opus?
I think I did a few very, very good, like the Darfur movie, but they're serious movies, right? So I like the Rampage trilogy. Tunnel Rats, the Vietnam War movie, was very good. But Postal is my favorite movie. Yeah, it's and it's also not a movie when you watch it where you see a lot of let's say mistakes, where you think like, oh, that guy should never play that part, or I don't believe that actor is his part. It's not. I believe every actor. I think every actor is perfect in their movie. And for example, with Rampage, in every single movie I see mistakes. So I see we were budget limited, the action sequence could not big enough, whatever, stuff like this. But in Postal, I don't have that. Right. Postal is a movie I'm really from A to Z totally happy with. And that is why I enjoy it so much. And I know that people were offended, but I think it's also the problem of the people.
Yes.
If you're offended by something like this, you should also look into yourself and question yourself why.
Remember, people are offended now that you want them to wear a mask when they go out in public. So the fact that they were offended by Dave Foley taking a shit and whipping his dick out, and Vern Troyer getting raped by 1,000 monkeys. I'm not saying that the movie was made to offend, but it was not made not to offend, right?
Right. And there was also, you did a really good job, the opening scene of walking this line of being offensive, but making something really offensive not offensive. When you've got the terrorists flying in the plane, and it blew my mind actually. This whole concept that at the last minute they were like, actually, we don't want to do this. We're going to Bermuda or whatever. Yeah. And the reason that it went down is they're like, no, we're getting out of here. That really blew my mind, just right off the bat.
Well,
that's the one thing that sticks out to me in that movie.
Yeah, and actually, when Uwe first sent us the script and we read that scene, it was not particularly funny on paper. We're a bunch of New Yorkers. It wasn't that old of news. We read the scene and we're like, oh my fucking God. And then when we were on set, you had the scene filmed and cut up well, and we watched it and we were like, wow, that's that's not the ridiculously tone deaf scene we read. It was very well done, and the actors did a great job. It
really was. It made me think too. That's what I thought was so great about it, is it was probably the first time, because it was so close to it, that I even thought like that there was another side. And of course, I highly doubt that that's what really happened. But just the idea that something was going on that we don't know about, like just completely off of our radar. Yeah. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah, but it's interesting so there were two experiences I had with the opening scene. Was the one in the New Jersey Film Festival, where the mayor of New Jersey didn't came because we were the opening movie. And he heard about the movie and he didn't want to come and make his opening speech because it was the opening movie. And he said it's so American, whatever, right? So, and then I had a huge discussion with the people who came and watched it. And I said, look, I don't make a joke about the victims of September 11 with that scene. I make a joke about the idiotic idea of can sacrifice themselves, and then they have virgins. That is the joke of the scene.
Right.
When I said if you don't get that, then I don't know if you're stupid or whatever, right? So and another thing I had in Berlin, it was a midnight movie, and I was there as a surprise guy. And there were like in a Berlin multiplex theater, there were like 80% Turkish people in the movie theater. And they flipped completely out because it was anti-Muslim, right? So and then I stayed there until the end of the film, right? And then I discussed with them, and I said, guys, tell me why is that you as a Muslim, you have to see the difference between this completely absurd balloony idea that you kill people and then you have a better life in the afterlife. You're only little tools for people. Osama bin Laden would never went in an airplane like this. He would never did what he wanted to people to do, and that is the difference between the leaders and the little.
Right. Yeah. It's like the worst pyramid scheme ever.
Yeah, it's a brainwashed idiot, right? And there is no other religion actually what is able to do that to people. You will have like fanatic, whatever, all over the place. But I think they all draw the line in like jumping and blowing themselves up somewhere.
Right. Other religious extremists just kill people. They don't kill themselves. They just
exactly.
Right.
They say like.
Well, so considering Postal was your favorite of your movies, obviously, what do you think was your worst film? Unless there are no bad ones, in which case.
No, I mean that I always say like funny is that House of the Dead, who made the most money of all of my movies, I think was really with Alone in the Dark maybe my worst movie. I think these two movies really bad, and for various reasons, right? So it's now in the like many other movies with big stars who were even worse. I mean, it's also like, I remember when people say, oh, Alone in the Dark did only $5 million at the box office. But look 100 movies with whatever Tom Hanks, they made 500,000 at the box office. So there were a lot of movies make way less money. And but both movies had also good aspects. I liked Christian Slater in Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
But Tara Reid destroyed the movie. Right. So, and I should fired her right off the bat, but I didn't, because at that point, now Tara has no other jobs, right? So, but at that point, American Pie did hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And she was one of the lead actresses. So you feel like if you have Tara Reid, and it was my mistake that I kept her.
Well, and Christian Slater was down in his career at that point, and now he's a big celebrity again. So like,
it was Mr. Robot and all that other stuff. So
right.
Like people have twists and turns in their career, but I personally, you remember the really old days, right? So where I think Christian Slater was the same level as a Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And other big.
He just took the drug addict route and kind of.
Now you're frozen.
You're frozen.
You're still on?
I can hear you, but your video is frozen.
Yeah, it works.
Yay for internet. We can still talk to you though. That's okay. You got a good face. You got a good
Yeah, no, it works. And you'll just like you'll just pop back all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I'm
at
sure.
some point the internet will come back. So I guess we already asked you what you really think Postal 2 would have been about, but do you have like an exact single plot mind? Like, oh, are you gone, Uwe?
Yeah, okay, now we're back.
There you are.
You were frozen. At one point you were all frozen, so I don't know where.
You had this great face, like it was good.
Yeah, it worked out.
Did you hear the question?
No, I don't know where we were stopped, actually.
I just was saying we already talked a little bit about what you would have done with a second movie, but like, do you have a specific idea that, you know, what would have been the story for the dude in Postal 2? Like, obviously crazy scenes are, aside, just like a regular plot of what you would have done.
I think when I met Zach Ward, he came to my restaurant one time, so we started discussing Postal 2. And I mean, I would like to do it like the same kind of situation a few years later, so a really follow up to the first one. So what happened, like a few nuclear bombs went off, but the Earth in a way survived in a different way, and he's now totally like total fuck basically. So he's in a horrible financial shape again. And Jesse, Jackie Tone, his girlfriend, got like 5 kids and went to the worst, right? Like, so that she's now a total pain in the ass, asshole.
She's not big and fat like his wife was.
So, yeah, like I don't know. Maybe she definitely gained weight, but we cannot make her fat.
Yeah,
probably him too. So. Probably the dude. The dude has to be kind of fat too. Like he's got the dad.
I don't know. Can you eat in a post-apocalyptic world? Like, is there?
That's true. Like the fat guy, the fat guy in Lost. Like, how has he stayed fat for so long?
No, you have like all the genetically modified. Now push the whole time on the camping spot whenever they live in the trailer park again. So you could jump right back, right? That it would be actually funny to almost start the second movie how the first movie starts, that they're basically in a different trailer park. It's a different trailer, but he's completely fucked this time with Jackie Tone.
But it's also post-apocalyptic. It could be a zombie movie. You could also make fun of zombie movies because he launched the nuke.
Robot or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Robots. Everybody's robots.
And then he got like one turn. It's like he gets an invite to do to get into like Big Brother or something, you know, like a TV show.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever, with Ice Cube and being like quarantined for like 60 days. And stuff like this,
right?
You know, like getting a little like basically abused because he was world famous at one point for not saving the world and all that stuff. But it's like I'm not done with it. I've wrote a lot of like different scenes I would love to have in Postal 2, but I'm far away of having it written.
Well,
right? So
maybe it would work better as a streaming series, and you could just do a bunch of short, nonsensical scenarios for Postal.
Yeah, you know, like I thought about Quibi.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if they're already bankrupt, but they just gonna launch, right? So, but minutes of Postal a week would be kind of cool because you can also jump and bring different characters back.
Yeah, and they don't have to have any continuity. They can just be
that's
stories
the best part
like
about
Black
the
Mirror
streaming
almost.
And look, Osama bin Laden survived.
Right, of course he did. George Bush.
Definitely. He's hanging out with Kurt Cobain. You could have an episode where it's just all these people that we think are dead, but they're doing just fine. Speaking of people, you know, who are the actors that you're thinking of, or like who's your favorite actor?
Yeah, who's your favorite actor to work with in all your movies?
Yeah.
So I worked with, it's not so easy, right? So because you have actors that are your friends, like Clint friend, where you did various movies with, and you kept the contact going. Luke Perry was very good to work with. I did The Final Storm with him, and he came various times to my restaurant later. He was a great human being, like a great guy. Work-wise, it was interesting. For example, Ray Liotta was a total prick in The Name of the King, but then later I did another movie with him, Suddenly, where he played a cop, and it was no problem at all. So I think he wasn't in The Name of the King so out of his element that he just hated. He did it for the money, and he was just like pissed off the whole time. And later he got way less money for Suddenly, for that crime thing, and he really was easy going, right? So Ron Perlman was very nice, right? So I loved Ron Perlman in The Name of the King, but he turned down Postal. He told me, like, it's anti-Semitic. I said, are you crazy? Where? I said, where's that anti-Semitic? And I said, it's anti-everything, you know, especially anti-religion and all that stuff. And I said, I don't get it. And he passed on it. And but it doesn't matter. And Jason Statham was very good to work with. But, you know, Jason Statham, it's a typical thing, right? So you'll keep the contact. I had a dinner like a year after the movie. But then at one point, these guys don't answer you anymore. You know, you send an email with whatever, and then you're not getting even an answer anymore. Ben Kingsley, the same. We got the money for Blood Rain and then gave a shit about it. And so that is the thing. It's like, I'm not the best. I'm not the director who keeps a lot of actor friends. You know, it's like not like I have a lot of actors that are around me and I'm my best buddies. Like two guys I work with the whole time, Jonathan Shaw for post-production. There is a good friend. I see him regularly, even if we don't work. And Dan Clark, my line producer, I see regularly because he has a dog too. We walk the dogs together. And he's doing all the Seth Rogen films. He did did the interview and stuff like this. So with him, I'm a good friend. But with actors, I don't keep the contact always. But I think acting-wise, like let's say who was one of the best actors I worked with, where I felt like there is something extra on the screen, definitely Eddie Furlong, like from Terminator, right? I did work with him. He was in Assault on Wall Street, and he ruined his life with drugs, right? So he doesn't have a career, but he is a real actor. He could be a big star, and he's super talented, and he's a real sensitive person, and can pull out great things. And I loved the Stoic movie I did with him, where it's all playing in one jail cell with 4 people in a jail. It's a great movie. Never made any money, but it's a great movie about a real case where 4 people were over the weekend in a German cell, and then they tortured and raped the guy and killed him. And I tell that story, super intense, but it's a very strong movie, very, very good. And it shows like this kind of, if you're locked up somewhere, how things getting fast off, like how they pick one victim basically. Right. And in the beginning of the movie, it could be anybody, but then it's one specific person, and then they go off on him and flip it completely out, and then they hang him and covering it up as a suicide and call the guards and say, the guy killed himself overnight. And then it turned out later with the forensics and everything, they found out was total murder. And but it's a great, great movie.
Well, then on the flip side, whose number did you delete? After you filmed a movie with them.
Also, and my question also is, what, you know, for somebody that's not involved in this world, what makes an actor like a pain in the ass? Like, what are is it like regular job, like they're showing up late? Like, I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Stephen Dorff in Alone in the Dark, right? So per contract, he had the same trailer as Christian Slater. So then there was the first shooting day, and Stephen Dorff went in Christian Slater's trailer to talk to him. And then I get a call 5 minutes later from his agent. He said, Christian Slater has a nicer trailer as him. We want a different trailer. 5 minutes later. So then I talked to Christian Slater and say, you know what we do? You go in Stephen Dorff's trailer, because Christian Slater told me he gives a fuck, right? So we knocked on Stephen Dorff's trailer, Christian and me, and say, here, Stephen, pack your bag. You get Christian's trailer. And he's like, why? What's going on? What's going on? So he acted like he never called his agent, right? So, and what? I mean, why the agent in Los Angeles should call us here in Vancouver? It was crystal clear. He was whiny about it.
Right.
So, and then we said, no, here, come, you go to Christian's trailer. And he said, no, I love my trailer. But you know, but I think that is stuff where you know a guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
Behind, right? So it's like a kind of like a sneaky asshole. And a lot of this kind of politics on set, I never really reacted to all that stuff a lot, but it drove my producers and line producers crazy if people had that attitude and demanding shit, what is completely like, where you think like, it doesn't happen. Michael Madsen, we were in Romania in Bucharest, I mean, Romania is really shitty, right? So, but we were in the best restaurant what is possible. And we were sitting in the restaurant and he like, I want Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he told it to the waiter of that restaurant. And the waiter said like, but we are not Kentucky Fried Chicken. Then he lost it on there was the guy from the Romanian film studios and he was a big Michael Madsen fan. He like, Michael, whatever you want. And I said, are you retarded? I said, order something from the menu. And he made that other guy driving, leaving the dinner, driving to Kentucky Fried Chicken and came back in the restaurant with Kentucky Fried Chicken and he ate Kentucky Fried Chicken during we were all eating the other stuff. And I think that is total asshole move.
Yeah.
Especially against the restaurant.
Yes.
I mean, what is the message from him to that restaurant? Like, you're even worse as Kentucky Fried Chicken, even if I never ate here before. So, but this stuff, Michael Madsen pulled all the time on the other actors who all hated him. And that was unfair and not okay, you know? And I have to say, in the name of the king, nobody pulled anything. Like, I mean, yes, Ray Liotta was a pain in the ass, but everybody else, like Ron Perlman, Jason Statham, John Rhys Davis, Lily Zubieski, all that people, no attitude, lined up in front of the catering truck and were really team players.
Nice.
I think the most striking thing about that whole thing is that there's Kentucky Fried Chicken in Romania.
Yeah, really.
I was even surprised when they actually found somewhere.
I mean, it is Michael Madsen. He was in like 2 or 3 good things. We might as well go drive and get him some fucking chicken. I've actually heard he's a dickhead. Like, that's one of those things that's like well known that Michael Madsen's a prick.
Yeah. I have an interesting so Dan Clark, my line producer, he worked for Clint Eastwood and he did The Perfect World with Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
And who else was in it? But and Clint Eastwood doesn't take shit.
No.
Right?
That's
and
his brand.
Kevin Costner came always what?
That's Clint Eastwood's brand.
He'll yell at you even if you're a chair.
Yeah, no, totally. And Clint and Costner came always in the beginning, like he came out of the trailer very slow, and it took 10 minutes before whatever, right? So when Clint Eastwood said we're shooting, it took him 10 minutes to come. But started always shooting without him, you know. So he said like, and Kevin Costner like, how can you shoot the scene? And he said, yeah, if you're not coming, you're not in the scene. Right? And that made Kevin Costner coming. He was on time, like standing on the line, you know, like he totally got it. That Clint Eastwood actually writes him down, like that he gets less and less screen time on the movie if he's not on time standing there. I
read yesterday actually that Kevin Costner was getting super pissed on the Robin Hood set because of how much better an actor Alan Rickman was. And it was pissing him off constantly. And then he ended up having most of his scenes cut, a lot of his scenes cut from the movie because he outshined him all the time.
And Christian Slater was good in Robin Hood.
Exactly, he was great in that movie.
Slater
and Dave Chappelle. I know that was a different movie.
but Slater hates Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
He did the 2 movies with him. The one with Kurt Russell was the Elvis, that gangster movie.
Yeah. That was a good one.
He plays Elvis like the Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah.
And then they said he and Kurt were always on time on set, and Kevin Costner didn't came. But the director of that movie was a nobody, so Kevin Costner gave it crap, right? He didn't came and let the other people wait the whole time. And I made, that was all before that was in the Name of the King. I made an offer to Kevin Costner first, before I went to Jason Statham. And so Costner was on the phone with me and said I should fly him up to Vancouver to talk. And I said, no problem, right? And he said, but I travel only with the private jet.
Oh.
And I said, that is a problem. I'm not flying you up for like 60 grand from LA, what cost me like $1,500 to fly you first class. It was Air Canada. It's a 2.5 hours flight. So then I told him, and he said, no, I want the private jet. I said, to be honest, like, I'm not doing it. I said, but here's the other thing. I come down to Los Angeles and we just meet in Los Angeles. I said, I have no problem. I just come down. No, I need the private jet. So that was the end of the negotiation. Because I called the attorney and they're like, he's just not, but if he starts doing this now, I said, I don't want to shoot a movie with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
An absolutely disaster. And it turned out he had a private jet and he wanted to rent on something like this. So he would get a cut out of the 60 grand.
Right.
He would have 25 in his pocket or something. And so, that was ridiculous.
Yes, that's a little too much. Well, we've gotten a few stories, but what is your favorite story from your own sets? Whether it's funny, bad, good, anything like that. Like
somebody get naked.
Yeah.
Oh, naked were a lot, but
just Dave Foley.
Yeah. It's only German out. It's like where I've wrote about the movies. It didn't came out in US so far. I wrote it in German too. And then, but there is, of course, in retrospective, all the disasters are the more, like, let's say, interesting things to tell, right? When you shoot a movie like Blood Rain 2 was in a Wild West town, and we were sitting there, and it was in the middle of the night, and a stunt guy ran out of a, like, kind of a shed, and he like, run! And we're like, what? Right? And then was a gas tank burning, that 50-liter gas tank, the heaters where you put the barbecue on. So, and it was like a record going up through the roof of that shed, flying all the way up and flying exactly back down into the shed. And he said, there are 15 more gas tanks in the shed where that thing just landed. So we ran away, run off the thing. And then we called the fire trucks, police and whatever. It was in the middle of the night in border town, close to the US border. And when the fire trucks came, we said we heard 2 explosions so far, but there are 15 of them. So they were standing with us uphill, waiting till the whole city burned down, basically. They didn't went down and put water on, whatever. And already in the middle of the night, the news teams were there. It was the TV morning shows. And so everything was burning, and I thought it would be the biggest insurance shit case of my life. And then I knocked on the door from the lead actress, Natasha Malta, who was now since 3-4 hours in her truck. And so I opened the door, and she was sitting on her like couch. I was listening to music. And I'm like, are you insane? I said, like, the city burns down right out. Yeah, whatever. She didn't get it. And
this
I said, why?
Fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's totally detached from life. And I said, were you not strangely worried that if nobody comes and brings you to set to shoot at a nighttime shoot, another shot for the last 4 hours, that is something maybe outside of your trailer happens? And she was not. So, but that was a crazy thing. And still the border town, Wild West City, they shot very west, but the railway station and the shed and this stuff, like a barn, burned completely down and never got rebuilt of it. So that was a crazy story, like, but we had so much crap. Like in Romania, I'm standing on a corner in a city. We shot like in an old city where a monastery was. And my camera guy, Matthias, told me like, across the street, that thing looks like my suitcase. And I like, what? How is that possible? We're in a hotel. Where's your suitcase? So it was his suitcase. So the driver from Romania, a guy, couldn't find the hotel to bring our suit because we were on set right away. So they were supposed to bring the suitcases into the hotel. So he couldn't find the hotel. So he just dumped the suitcase in the middle of that little town. And but there are moments where you really see you cannot believe what just happened because nobody would believe you that shit. It's true. Yeah. So all the other suitcases were in the hotel from everybody else, but his suitcase was standing on that sidewalk. And till today, I don't get it together. How is that possible? I mean,
what was the guy thinking?
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit. You know, so the Snyder Cut of Justice League coming out on HBO Max soon. Are we going to see the Zach Ward cut of Postal ever?
I actually get asked that question every time I do a podcast. That's what they ask me. We heard there was this other cut. Fans want to see it. No,
but Zach Ward he never did a cut.
Oh, it doesn't exist.
It's only like
that was easy.
It's the longer and the shorter version of Postal, right? So we have that 2 hours version and we have the 108-minute version. Right. That was it. And Zach Ward was not even ever in the editing room.
There is no Zach Ward cut. It will not be out. Stop asking me that.
So please stop asking us. Thank you.
Because because he's so in love with himself.
Yeah, I mean, he was Scott Farkas. That is.
Yeah, I know. And then he would cut everybody else out. There would be no more Dave 40 left.
Bullflix. Uwe, what happened to Bullflix?
That was a mistake from my end. So there were 2 guys from Germany. They said, we have it all under control, the technical thing, whatever, right? So I sent them all the masters from the movies. Yeah. They digitized them. And then they couldn't get it up that it was actually screening properly, right? I mean, if you want to charge, I like the idea that on Bullflix, you would have all Boll movies, all of my movies, always available. And then you, whatever, $1.99 or $2.99, and you can screen whenever you want it. Because over the years, you have people like, I don't find the movie. Is it on Netflix? Where is it? Right? So stuff like this. And but the streaming, they couldn't pull it off. The quality was so bad that I had to pull the plug. I said, I'm not like the old Commodore computers, you know.
Come to Bullflix, where I personally press play every time you want to watch the movie.
I said Bullflix is dead, but I still like the idea.
Right.
You know, now where all the rights, a lot of the movie rights from my movies are free. You know, and you have a lot of territories available where you could stream them, and to have a platform where you always can find a movie. You know, whatever. Let's say we're talking right now. Now somebody watches the podcast and says, "I want to see that prison movie with Edward Furlong."
Yeah.
You will have a tough time to get that movie.
Right.
Maybe you get it still on Amazon, but you will have a tough time to find that on Netflix or anywhere. So I think it would be good to have that side.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not like it's rocket science to make a streaming site. I mean, clearly a bunch of people are doing it. So I think you need to find a new partner for that. I think you found some Germans that didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah,
that's all right. I actually wanted to ask you about that, you know, the streaming stuff. Like, what is your opinion of all this? Because I realize there's like this huge battle in the industry. You know, people like Christopher Nolan like royally hate the concept of, you know, direct to streaming service stuff. They won't release their new movies until theaters are at 80%, you know, capacity. Like, what are your personal thoughts of all of this and the way things have sort of gone because of quarantine and all that?
I think that Christopher Nolan or whatever, they're just rich, arrogant prick.
Yeah.
Right? So because he is this, if you have other people giving you $200 million per movie, and you as a director get 10 of it, you give a shit how much they have to spend to get people in the movie theater, right, and how much money they make. But that is the attitude only people like this have. Yeah. And the reality is, in 10 years from now on, you will watch everything anywhere.
Yeah.
Whenever you want. I think that will automatically happen. Yeah. That you will have basically everything available on the same day where it's in the movie theater. I think there will be still movie theaters, right. but I think also that people will be still a little more selective. Yeah. And look, if I want to watch a movie and I pay $35 for it, but I can watch it at home on a great TV with all of my family,
yeah,
and pizza during the time, why not? I think it's only fair to offer this, because also recently, I have to say, to go with the whole family in the movie, it's $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
Insane. Everybody wants popcorn and some to drink. Now you pay like $14, $15. It's insane. It's and then you.
And worse than that, we're all of an age. We're all of an age where we pee a lot. Nothing makes me more angry than having to pee twice.
It's the worst
during a movie that I'm paying to see. Like at home, we just pause that shit, start it up again. I love movie theaters. Like I do love going to movies for big films. I have the AMC pass where I get 3 movies a week for $20. I love doing that, but it's been no problem for me to not go to the theater during this and watch the movies at home. So I get it. There's like this. I mean, even the Academy, they only recently started giving a shit about movies that went direct. I mean, actually they don't. You still have to release it in theaters, right? You have to have like a small.
Yeah, but that will fall.
Right. That's
in 2-3 years. Nobody talks about that anymore. It's bullshit. Yeah. But it's also a lot of things who quality wise, right? With Netflix, for example, the problem I have is a lot of things just disappearing. You don't find them anymore. Like you have to go and search and put a name in, or that thing is gone forever. And because it's just out of whatever recently added. And I forget sometimes that I was watching something and I never follow up on it. So of course it was then also not the biggest like binge watching hookup. But there were things I was interested in to finish it, but I couldn't, and it disappeared, and then I didn't put it in the search engine. So of course, movies getting more unimportant in a way, as they were in the past. With you waited and you watched the trailer, and then you were all excited to watch it.
Right. The whole cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, that gets a little more like another movie and another movie and another movie. But I think a lot of in the streamers. You get also absolutely pearls like they were would never produced from a real big major studio.
Yeah.
It would say like we should do another $10 million drama. Nobody will watch it, and we're not spending another $40 million for a theatrical release on this.
Right.
And I think Netflix, also Amazon, have a lot of also episodic, like what you said with the Ozark or whatever, great shows where you have more time to develop a story, where it's actually more interesting to follow the story as a lot of individual movies. And I think episodical TV gained so much. I love You Better Call Saul, for example. Like at that slow burning.
Right.
Wait 1 second. That kind of slow burning. But then it really gets you.
Right.
That was Breaking Bad similar, but then with You Better Call Saul, the last season I think was a masterpiece.
Well,
so
it's like TV makes the streaming stuff, and TV makes currently makes movies harder to make, because it's very hard to tell a story in 90 minutes to 2 hours that someone has 10 to 12 hours on television to make, and it's just. I guess that makes movies stand out more to me nowadays, but it also makes movies feel weaker to me, even good movies, because I don't care
they're just
about
missing
anybody.
a lot.
Yeah. But you know what the problem is of a lot of movies is that they use all their screen time only for stupid action stuff.
Right.
Like where you have that movies like Avengers now are almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And you think like, why? I don't want another mega fight.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
I want to sit somewhere for 3 hours where's the 100-minute level? I mean, you know, like that is the thing where I think a lot of that event movies are too long. Where you think, like, if I see one more Transformer battle, I kill myself. So it's like you just run the end credits and say, dead, bye. So, that is pissing me off. But I think the tendency that movies are too long is visible for years now. But they don't use the screen time properly to tell the story, or to that is why the episodical TV has a little more grip to it, you know, where you see, they developed the story in an interesting way. And look at Money Heist,
right?
On Netflix. It's an overdrive thing, but you could never tell this in a 2-hour story, because then it would be full of logical flaws. You would watch this and think that is total bullshit. They would be all shot to death, and there is no way to get out of that situation. There would be a run over in an hour. So, but if you tell it properly, Money Heist has absolutely unbelievable twists and turns where you think, like, I cannot believe what they're doing there.
Right.
But it works. And I think that a lot of movies, they don't have that anymore. And, you know, like, for example, The Irishman. As a film fan and a Scorsese fan, I was, of course, extremely excited about The Irishman. But when you watch it, you see also that the era is over. You know, I think it's no comparison to The Godfather, to Goodfellas.
Right.
No comparison.
No, not at all.
Not at all. They were so much better than other movies. I think The Irishman got the Oscar nominations because they put a lot of money behind it, because it was maybe Martin Scorsese's last movie, whatever. And the last time we see Pacino, De Niro, and Pesci together, but it's the Oscars. It was a good movie, but it was
boring.
Casino was better, maybe. You know, like it was not even close to the real classical gangster movie.
No, I thought I thought it was 3 hours of well shot nothingness, I guess you could say.
It's
Although I also
fanfare.
thought that
it's for the people that love that stuff, right? They wanted to, you know, one more go at it.
And I mean, just knowing what they did with all the aging tech and the de-aging tech, like, it's nice, but, you know, you can see it. I mean, maybe it's because I'm in the industry, but, like, there's clearly still an uncanny valley in that stuff. And while I personally, like I said, I love movies, but I don't want to sit through a 3-hour movie anymore. Like, I don't mind sitting through 3 hours of television because I can stop and do it whenever I want, but 3 hours of movie is rough. I mean, even like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought it was a really well-made movie, and it wasn't bad, but I thought it was really, really boring. It was just...
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. Everybody told me, the Tarantino thing, you have to watch it. It's the best thing ever. Then I watched the movie, and I watched it at home. I paid like $8 for it, so I watched it at home. And my wife started sleeping after 10 minutes. And I watched it over 2 days, because I also, after an hour, I said, you know what, I watched something else now. And then I watched the rest in the afternoon the next day. And besides what was the point of it?
Nothing.
I mean,
there was literally no
the
point.
whole time, if you use Charlie Manson, you have to show how he kills Sharon Tate.
Right. They just,
you know,
they
instead
sort of give you the prelude. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, the neighbor's house, like the DiCaprio house attack, totally made up bullshit. And it's like, it's completely absurd. It doesn't make any sense. And when I watched it to the very end, yes, there was a nice fight and massacre scene, but you feel like, what the fuck was that movie about? It was totally
well, and I actually thought that for the last movie he did before that too, the Hateful Eight or whatever, when they were all in that one room for the whole movie in the winter.
Yeah. See, like, I like that stuff though. I think I like that it's just like anti like everything, like it's just anticlimactic. But also, I also felt when they were over, like, did we like learn anything here? What happened?
Yeah.
There was no point to this.
No.
But I just like watching like the ridiculousness.
Yeah, but look, I'm a very big fan of Tarantino. I think it's very good that he exists, and I'm happy if a new movie from him comes out, right? Sure. But I totally like. Take for example the new when they filmed the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Was, you know, I like that movie way more as The Hateful Eight. And because it was told like a classical Western with like a lot of heroes dying, because you know the original, right? So, and I think the original was great with Yul Brynner and everybody, but the new one was good too. And I enjoyed that movie more, you know. And but that is the thing. It's like, for example, the Oscars was by far the best movie also. You totally should won a best movie also, and because it's the Joker, they felt they cannot give it the best movie award. But that was a movie what really got me. What was like where I totally forgot that it was a comic book movie, because it wasn't really.
You skipped when you said it. Did you say the Joker?
Yeah.
Joker was absolutely amazing.
For me, the Joker was the best movie. And
I don't know. I think Jojo Rabbit was the best movie.
No, Jojo Rabbit was very good too, you know. Yeah. But I felt the Joker was one of that rare movies. What you had was the Taxi Driver or Falling Down with Michael Douglas. That was one of that rare movies what grabbed you, and it was so well done. And it was really done because they give a shit that it's a comic book.
Right. I mean, it was an overloaded category though. Like Parasite was phenomenal too. So it's like one of those hard to say like, oh, they all deserved it to me. I mean, I guess.
Right.
All better as ever before,
right?
But you know, or La La Land or whatever. I mean, there were very bad years in the past on the Oscars, I think, where you don't have this kind of. Recently, I had like a kind of like in the, whatever 6 weeks ago, everybody was sleeping and I was watching, and then The Deer Hunter started, and I watched the whole movie till 2 a.m. Right? And when you watch The Deer Hunter again, you know what movie's lost.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist at all anymore. The movies like the 70s, 80s, 90s, I think, where they broke free, like the real authors or real filmmakers broke free from that Hollywood system and made the best movies ever made. It's also when you see Robert De Niro in that movie, and you see him in all that shitty movies he did in the last 15, 20 years where he just takes the paycheck. Christopher Walken and all that people, Meryl Streep. It's day and night. And it was really, and The Deer Hunter is very slow.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't show them working in that coal mining city before, you don't know where Vietnam, why it happened the way it happened, and you don't know what happened in Vietnam. I think that is so important to spend the same amount of time in the hometown where the soldiers came from, as to show only the Vietnam War, right? Yeah. So like Platoon is or whatever, and that makes The Deer Hunter, I think, an absolutely masterpiece. I don't know, but I felt really sentimental that night, because that was one of the movies why I wanted to make movies. Right. And then I watched it again after 25 years or 30 years, and you feel like my kids would never watch this stuff anymore. They cannot, if you put that on Netflix, people switch it all off after 20 minutes because nothing happened. They go hunting. Right. They would all switch it off. They don't give the movie the shot.
No, I mean, even Apocalypse Now, like I went and saw the final cut in the theater recently, and like that just nobody would watch that nowadays. Like it's
no, they just wouldn't have the stomach for it. But so anyways, we have one more question, and it's really switching gears this time. And I don't know if you know this, you probably don't. Mike's wife has been playing a lot of video games during the quarantine.
Yeah,
you've been playing any video games? No, she's not. Do you play video games at all ever?
My son is like playing tournaments of Fortnite.
Right.
And
of course.
I just had a new Acer computer, and he has the PlayStation 2, and my other son is only 6. and he's now getting addicted to.
Right.
What is horrible. So I try to cut him off. But I basically have no access to the game room.
Well, I feel like
I could not say now I'm playing. It would end up in a fist fight, whatever.
Well,
right?
I was gonna say you used to box people. You boxed even the press before Postal. So why don't you become proficient at a game, Fortnite, whatever it is, and then you can challenge people and you stream it. You can play against Uwe Boll on Fortnite.
I've been to training camp before, but the idea is not bad. I mean, look at the online gaming.
Yeah.
Numbers came in today, right? It's booming like crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You can basically say in the crisis, online gaming went straight up. Online, of course, like data protection, all that went straight up. And Zoom and this kind of stuff, right? So they are benefiting from it. And that train will not get reversed.
No.
It won't.
I think it's forever. To be honest, like if I see a full bar with 150 people drinking beer and the air conditioning is going, I will never enter that bar again. I mean, if only if I have a vaccine, right? If I get then I don't care
thank
anymore.
God you have sense.
But till then, for me, that is over. And restaurants, I will go back to restaurants, but only out first on the patio. I want to sit on the patio, right? And then I feel more comfortable. And maybe in 1 or 2 years, if the vaccine is there, or I had the coronavirus, whatever, then I'm not so picky anymore. But it's the same with sports arenas, with this kind of stuff. I'm not eager to go back to them, and I'm not alone. I mean, that will be more than half of the population would say, you know what, the next stupid Ariana Grande concert will happen without us. I mean, I cannot do it, and I will not.
Well, me and Eric are very much going out people. Like, we do it a lot. We go to a lot of festivals. We go to a lot of bars. We go to a lot of restaurants. We ain't gone shit.
Right? We haven't done any of that, and I love it. That's where I live. I live at the club. You know, my roommate is a producer, music producer, DJ. I love it. But you're right. This is going to be this way for a long time.
Well,
I'm going to be sitting and doing this.
It made us really take for granted the way we were doing things. And, you would always sort of think about, like, how gross everything is. Like, money, you touch money, it's disgusting. Like, but now it's like you don't want to touch anything. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Fucking there.
Yeah, I was the whole time not, like, in a panic. I was also, I stay on distance, but I'm not running around the whole time with the mouse thing on, whatever, right? So it's like I just stay on distance. When I walk the dog or whatever, I don't put, because here's fresh air. So I think it's kind of stupid. But I also totally understand you cannot be in a grocery store,
right?
And and then you just put the thing on, and it's okay. And it's and all that people who are completely disillusional, they just don't accept the facts. And it's the thing, like so many people like yelling on the streets, I don't know anybody what coronavirus. Okay, but that means you completely ignore the facts. Like, I mean, if you don't believe that numbers are true, if in New York tons and tons of people died, I mean, it's insane,
right.
And I watched recently on Vice that docu show, right? So they had a guy, like a Chinese guy, his footage from Wuhan on the weekend where they shut it down. And so the guy was shooting everything, walking the empty railway station, whatever. In Wuhan, in the hospitals, they were out on the parking spot. There were like thousands of people coughing and sweating, and nobody really knew at that point what that was.
Right.
But I think when you see this, then you know what can happen if you just let it spread. And if China at that point would not close Wuhan completely off from the rest of the earth, we would be fucked. Like, because there were supposed to be 2 million people from there traveling all over the world, right? So it's like it's a 60 million people region. What is insanely when you think of the numbers. And if 2 million of them would travel out there in the next 2 weeks, 500,000 would have coronavirus, and they would spread it all over the thing. And then we would have that millions and millions of dead people. What the prognosis was, right? And I think now, instead of being happy that it was not so bad as the predictions would say.
Look, it was fake. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is insane, right? Instead of being happy that it didn't spread out too much.
That it worked.
Yes.
That what we did worked, essentially. Right.
Yeah. And that is the thing. And it's, yes, 9 out of 10 people have only a little flu and are not getting really the shit hits the fan illness, but 10% getting really sick.
Well, I've had a bad flu, like where I had to go to the ER and get medicine for it. Like, I don't want something worse than that.
I don't even want to do that. I don't even want a regular cold. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want mild symptoms. I don't want any of that shit.
Yeah, people forget that when us men have colds, we're basically giving birth. I mean, we are complaining that much. So, like...
The worst was when the news came out. Remember, in the beginning, the news came out that Advil is shit, that you cannot take it anymore, right? That it makes you weaker at the coronavirus, whatever.
Right.
But I have migraines, right? So I have like really bad headaches every few weeks. And without Advil, I'm dead. I cannot function. Like I can get through the days only with Advil. So I felt the whole time I'm poisoning myself now with Advil, but I cannot not do it because then I just have to lay down the whole day and still have a headache. So it challenged a lot of things what you do normally. Yeah. But my brother, he's a teacher in Germany, and he thought he totally had it. And then they reopened the schools and they tested all the teachers, right? So, and he didn't have it.
Yeah. Well, it is cold and flu season. So people that think they had it, it is cold. You might have just had a cold or flu, I've had
he was very disappointed. Yeah. He was very disappointed because he hoped he had it.
Right. Well,
right. So that he could be done with this nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he doesn't have it. And now he has to face hundreds of kids going.
Yeah, me and Eric, we had a booth at a convention at the very end of February. And,
right when this started happening.
Yeah, and it was like we were not super happy to be with all these people, and when we got home, we were very sick. And I still haven't had an antibody test. I'd love to get one just to see if it's possible.
Yeah,
but
because not only we were around 150,000 people every day for 4 days, but we were also in Boston where it went down. We were on an airplane. We were in 4 airports.
Didn't feel great. Didn't feel
no.
great.
But maybe you had it, and you can be happy if the antibody test will happen. There was so sensational also in Vancouver, for example. So they said we have 2 drive-in tests for things, right? So you drive there, close. So they opened it only for the TV, right? So the morning show, the test facility is open. Then you have like that rubber suit guys with whatever testing 4 guys in the car. The TV team leaves, they leave. They will never reopen it. Total bullshit. If you want to get a test here, it's impossible.
Yeah.
They will not test you as long as you're not on a ventilator.
Right, and we know that you have it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Then you don't need to test anymore. And that is the thing what is, I think, that the biggest lie, and it's not only Trump, it's all over the world. They all lie. They can test hundreds, thousands of people a day, but they just don't do it. And it's also give you the test results hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times a day. They're totally, it's bullshit. And I think would test everybody. They should go from house to house, ring your doorbell, test the family, and keep going. And that they should do now. They should start doing this now in Europe, in North America. Everybody had a test, including an antibody test. Yeah. Because it doesn't help you. Look, I have no symptoms at all. I don't think I have the coronavirus right now. Maybe I had it. I want the antibody test. I would be happier to do both tests in once.
Right.
It's an antibody. Yeah,
Well, so, they also.
I would happily pay $100 to do it myself. Like I would happily pay for it to just get it over with. That I have that information for myself.
Well, they've also kind of said that you may test positive for antibodies, but they can't tell you that that's going to completely protect you yet either. Like it's common thought.
Yeah, even if you had it. Yeah,
it's common thought that viral antibodies protect you, but they don't really have evidence for it this time around yet. So
we just don't know shit about this thing yet. That's the whole point.
No,
we just don't have the data.
Time. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
But well, we did it in the ass of the crotchy dog. We had the bird
That's
flu.
where coronavirus started.
Yeah.
And that was basically 12 years ago. Totally new. It will be the big problem on Earth will be biowarfare, right? So the biological warfare.
As it turns out, Running with Scissors and Uwe Boll invented the coronavirus at the Crotchy Doll factory in Wuhan, China. That's what I read on the internet. And to be even funnier, I just ordered, no joke, 500 more Crotchy Dolls from China. I had the order pending before all this went down, and they all shut down. And now they're coming, and I'm like, are these dolls going to be fucking covered in the fucking bird flu?
You got to get some Lysol, bro, and you got to spray those balls down.
That's a lot of ball sacks to spray down, my man.
It really is.
But you can also just put them, you leave them untouched in the garage for like a few days, right? So that
we'll get rid of the flu and we'll get the black mold. We'll swap one for the other. So it doesn't really matter what it is. They're all garbage products from garbage companies.
Yeah, but in one bag is the bag.
Right.
One of the bags and the bag flies out.
Yeah.
Right in front of you.
It's the golden ticket. We say it's the golden ticket. Somebody.
You have the spreader now in North America, the real one. It's
you
there.
Might
that
get
would be
lucky.
The opening.
Yeah.
No, that would be the opening of Postal 2.
Yep. That's
now
there it is.
The best
we did it. We did it, guys.
That is the opener. You know, like you try to catch that bat with the net, with the whatever, like, and you can't. It flies straight in the White House.
Yeah. You're not writing this down, Uwe. You need to write this down.
We're recording, Mike. I don't know if you're
fucking dream journal. I know. I'm going to find out that we're not recording at the end of this. That's what's going to happen.
We'll have to do it again. Sorry.
I know. All right. Well, we got an hour and 15 minutes into this interview. I think we've done a good job. We covered all of our topics. Do you have anything else you want to say, Uwe, to the Postal fans out there?
No. Thanks for playing the game and watching the movie, and I hope we coming back. So now where I don't have the restaurant anymore, I think I can focus on a few projects, and it will take maybe 1 or 2 years. But from the good side is, I have 2 Blackmagic cameras and stuff like this. The film is going down. Yeah. You know, in early days with 35 millimeter, whatever, there was no way to shoot a movie for like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Now with you have all the technical possibilities. And maybe we can pull it off all together. There's a lot of CGI people I know who would love to work on Postal, and they would do it as an investment. My composer would do it as an investment. So there's a lot of possibilities without moving so much cash,
right,
to pull something off. And the key is to write it in a way that it's doable without spending $10 million, right? So it has to be like a controlled attack, basically, to make that move.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for answering our questions and dealing with our bullshit and making people laugh.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Uwe.
Okay, I'm not hanging up now. I want to know if you saved it all or what.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was a good time with Uwe we had. Surprised.
We hope you laughed and you cried.
We did. We laughed and we cried. It went on a little longer than I thought it would. I had a lot of things to ask him, and I thought he was pretty.
He had a lot of interesting things to say.
He did.
What sticks out to me was the guy falling on his wife's car. That really M. Night Shyamalan ding-donged me.
Right. It is possible that he was actually remembering a scene from Bad Boys 3.
Right.
Where that happened. So.
You know, I meant to ask him. He got off on a tangent. You know, like he just said he had to go take the car to get it washed. But 3 stories up, that didn't I feel like that would just massacre his car.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that the car would be a pancake, but I feel like the roof would have been caved in.
At least something. I can't even walk on my car drunk without putting a dent in the top.
That's what I'm saying. Like a little rock hits my fucking car and it causes a dent. If a body falls 10 feet, it would put a dent in it, let alone 3 stories. I mean, maybe it was a little overblown. Maybe it was there was just a little thing that someone got thrown.
Yeah. Also, forgot to ask if the guy was dead before or after he was thrown.
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting Ozark vibes.
Right. Yeah. Really was. By the way, I watched Ozark for about 5 hours yesterday.
You're just diving right back into that instead of the many other shows that I've told you need to watch.
Well, the roommate, his girlfriend, she hasn't watched it yet, so we've been bringing her up to speed. So
is it as nerve-wracking the second time you're watching it?
It is, even more so because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's choices they make that affect other choices. And you're like, whoa, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously the thing I'm thinking about most is, which one of the females I'm most attracted to, because they're all like really, boss ass bitches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just really, really appealing. Even the old, tall, ugly one, Helen, I'd still, I'd take that for a ride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just so she could tell me I was doing poorly.
I think I like Michael Bluth the best.
Huh. I mean,
I don't know if you saw yesterday, the NHL announced they have a comeback plan for the NHL playoffs, and I'm a sports guy. I'm quite happy to hear that there is at least plans. I'm not sure how I feel about it in particular. A, as a fan, B, as a human being. I mean, as much as I would like to watch sports, I'm not sure.
Are they going to let people come watch?
No, they're going to be hosting it in 2 separate cities, and there's going to be no fans. But there's still players spitting and coughing and sweating.
Right.
I mean, years ago, there was this is 5 years ago maybe, they had a mumps outbreak in the NHL. Players were giving each other mumps. And I'm not quite positive the difference in transmission between coronavirus and mumps, but it was going from team to team just because they were sweating on each other when they went into the
aspirating corner. And
right. It's not like they were shaking hands. They don't do that after every game in the regular season, but they do sweat on each other because that's just the way the sport works, which makes me think how is the NBA ever going to come back with this? At least in hockey, they're
and not only not just on the court or the field or whatever, but for me, the locker room.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever, you guys have been in there, but you can literally feel the perspiration in the room when you walk into it. It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the bench, they're all sitting next to each other. I just don't I'm not the medical advisor to this, and I'm glad I'm not, but I'm just wondering how that's going to work.
Right. And hockey players are notorious, and I'm sure it's other sports too. And I know when I played hockey, I never washed shit.
Yeah, I would venture to guess in the NHL they professionally wash the shit all the time, but who knows? Maybe players don't let them because it's
because of the superstitious thing. That was my thing. I wouldn't wash until we lost a game.
Right, or shower for that matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's I got to be careful with that.
You still haven't showered since the Cardinals' last victory.
Oh God, yeah, 2000.
You've got 2004. You've got so much smegma growing all over your body now, and you're just waiting.
Yeah, well, it protects me from the Rona. The coronavirus sees the smegma
and high smegma
it's just
levels.
Keep you protected. Right. In fact, you can't see it, but as I scratch my arm, it's just kind of peeling off that wax on the cheese. The waxed cheese.
Bells.
Yeah. Night cheeses.
Yeah, I have a lot of those in my fridge usually.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got this done. We have this was the 16th episode of the I Regret Nothing podcast. It's now listed everywhere that podcasts are listed. You can check all those out at runningwithscissors.com/podcast or pod.co/RWS. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a review. Worst podcast ever, 5 stars. We love you. You love us.
Yeah, go in.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye.
And only the same song, that same song can lead me to the bottom. But yeah, the same song, that same song that makes me feel so rotten. It's always the same song.